And this, my friends, is why we love the Premier League. Wolverhampton Wanderers 2, Manchester City 1. Now, I'm going to be the first to castigate myself. For some reason, we seem to have this view of Manchester City as though they have an invincible cloak on them at all times. And even when they do face teams that have given them problems before, we tend to think that they will always seem to come through at some point. So when I was watching this Wolverhampton game against Manchester City, which I was doubling up with the Arsenal game at the same time, I was thinking to myself, as the 90 minutes ticked on and was approaching stoppage time, I was thinking to myself, this game has that inevitable air of a Manchester City equalizer. However, Wolves this time stayed the course and did what they had to do with a magnificent display as far as defense and a very good attacking threat on the break. They managed to vanquish Manchester City and end their 100% record. But hey guys, my name is Izzy. If you're new to the channel, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button and hit that like button so YouTube and everybody else can know that you are enjoying this content. But on to this game. The first half was actually pretty decent because both sides went for it. Wolves have started previous games pretty fast, and when they faced Liverpool and when they faced Manchester United, they played very well in those games, but were not rewarded with what they deserved after a very good first half display. But in this one, they managed to go ahead courtesy of a Ruben Diaz own goal. After that, they showed a very good composure as far as their defensive output. They managed to only contain Manchester City to a few shots from outside the box, and they didn't really have a lot of harrowing misses on the other end as well. Their composure was really important in this game simply because we have seen them do this before. And with Manchester City, there is always that feeling as though they will always be able to pull themselves back into a game. Now, in my prediction, I had them winning this game very comfortably. Rather, I think I had them winning 4-0, something of the sort. This game was anything but. Wolves were able to play very well outside of possession. And in this game, they did not exert as much energy as they did in the Manchester United and in the Liverpool game. What they managed to do was shield their defense a lot better than they did in those previous games. On the other hand, Manchester City were not awful in this game. I would just think that they were flat. Their midfielders did not seem as though they wanted to push forward with the same aggression that Manchester City sides of previous ilks have been able to do. And their wing play through Doku and Nunes was pretty flat. They did not really offer too much, considering that, we've had Mahrez in the past and we've had the likes of Grealish, who's still in the team. Foden was the chief creator in this game. But we still didn't see that sense of urgency from Manchester City that we're so accustomed to seeing. And so their equalizer came as a result of a dead ball. It was a sloppy foul from Wolverhampton, and it was duly punished by a very good free kick from Alvarez. But even at that point, for some weird reason, it just didn't seem as though they were ready to kick on. And Wolves were very, very good in trying to pick their moments to go forward. And they defended very valiantly in this game. And for the next 10 minutes, they even looked as though they might score. And guess what? They did. Hwang Hee-chan with a very good composed finish after some good play from Cunha when a shot was blocked. And Cunha, instead of going for goal by himself, because a lot of strikers tend to do that, was wise enough to square the ball for Hwang Hee-chan to score. Now, Walker was pretty close to heading the ball off the line, but he didn't manage to do it. And Wolves went 2-1 up. And after that, it was an exercise in composure. What they needed to do was hold the ball when they were able to, because Manchester City were obviously going to try and maraud forward whenever they had the opportunity to. Before that, they actually had a shot that was cleared off the line. And that was a sign of things to come. Manchester City were not able to break down Wolves. A lot of the crosses that they were putting in were going straight to Jose Sarr. Now, what does this actually mean for the league? Manchester City are now not invincible anymore. And whether some teams at the lower end of the table will look at this as a template to play against them, we still have to temper this result with the fact that one of the most important people in the team, Rodri, was not playing today. Now, as to whether he would have made an extremely huge difference, Maybe so, but Wolves were actually good defensively. So I don't think that Rodri, being a defensive-minded player, would have made an extremely huge impact in this game. You would probably feel as though Kevin De Bruyne's absence was a little bit more stark in this game, simply because Phil Foden tends to play a lot more on the wing, and charging him as the chief creator is going to mean that he's going to have to be able to pick passes on a consistent basis. And games like these make you appreciate Kevin De Bruyne even more, because you could see that Manchester City were just lacking that slight edge that would have put them ahead in this game. And while, of course, they dominated possession, and that is something that Manchester City have done and will do going forward, we've now seen a little bit of a wobble. And coming into a game against Arsenal next week, when Arsenal, who themselves have just had a very big win today, it's going to be very intense, and it'll be interesting to see how Manchester City will try to line up against Arsenal. But Wolves were very smart in the way they defended, and they did not give much away. They did not go to ground a whole lot, and they just seemed as though they were able to contain Manchester City. City did not play awful in this game, in my opinion. I just think that Wolves were able to nullify their threats effectively, and for once they did not run out of steam towards the end of the game. And they seem to have learned a lot from the games like Liverpool and Manchester United, and took what they did best in those games and applied it in this one. But most importantly, they were actually able to keep their heads and keep their legs for the full 90 plus minutes. I'm going to have a special shout out in this game for Pedro Neto, a player who I believe is destined and is supposed to be playing at the top tier of football. He was absolutely terrific in this game, just in the same way he was against Liverpool in that first half when they pushed them back and made Liverpool look very ragged. He supplied some very good runs down the right-hand side. He was very incisive with his passing. He gave Akanji and Ake a torrid time, and the goal in the first half came as a result of his run down the right-hand side with a pass that probably would have caught Cunha, and still Wolves would have been able to score. I think this player is fantastic. I have wanted him at Arsenal for such a long time. There were rumors that he was going to join them a couple of seasons back. I think Arsenal even had a bid of about £50 million turned down towards the end of the transfer window in 2021, I believe. And you can see why they wanted him even in this previous summer, even after he had recovered from his ACL injury. So Wolves were fantastic today. Manchester City were not atrocious, in my opinion. They just seemed flat. There was something that was missing from their play. Their movement on the wings was not good enough. Their midfield seemed like it was missing Rodri, and it seemed like it was definitely missing a Kevin De Bruyne type figure. So how is this going to impact next week? Let me know what you think. I definitely got my prediction wrong, but for the rest of the league, this is a very, very good result because it shows that there is competition, and these are the results that make you say, screw the Super League. But my name is Izzy. Let me know what you think down below. I will catch you on the next game. Peace.